Hey everyone, it is Hugo. Today I want to talk about something really important, something I wish someone had told me when I was starting out. Most people in their 20s, myself included back then, end up wasting a lot of their precious time and money chasing things that honestly just do not matter in the long run. I remember it clearly, it was all about having that flashy car, going out every weekend, buying the latest gadgets. I wanted to impress people to show off on social media. I thought that was what being successful looked like. I was so wrong. And then before I knew it, I was nearly 30, and I looked around and realized I had nothing to show for all that effort, all that spending. It was a really harsh wake-up call, a painful realization that my early 20s were essentially a financial disaster zone. But here is the good news. It really does not have to be that way for you. I genuinely believe that with a few simple, consistent habits and just a little bit of discipline, you can go from having absolutely nothing, literally starting from zero, to building a $100,000 net worth in just 5 short years. And in this video, I am going to break down exactly how to do it, step by painful step, drawing from my own experiences so you know what to do and what to absolutely avoid. I have made all the dumb mistakes so you do not have to. Now, the very first thing we need to understand, and this is crucial, is what net worth actually means. It sounds like a fancy financial term, but it is incredibly simple. Your net worth is just your assets minus your liabilities. Think of it like this. Assets are the good stuff. Things that put money in your pocket or hold value. We are talking about cash, your investments, maybe a retirement account, or even a valuable skill you possess. These are things that contribute positively to your financial picture. Liabilities, on the other hand, are the not-so-good stuff. These are things that take money out of your pocket. Debt loans, that credit card balance that keeps growing, anything that drains your financial resources is a liability. So let me give you a quick example, because I did not understand this for a long time. If someone has, say, $15,000 in savings and various investments, but then they also have $5,000 in student loans, their net worth is simply $10,000. That is just the 15 minus the 5. It is really that straightforward, and your big overarching goal, what we are aiming for here, is to constantly push that number higher and higher with each passing year. You want more assets and fewer liabilities, simple math, but so hard to follow when you are young and easily distracted. So the first big step, and trust me, this is where I failed spectacularly in my early days, is to learn to live below your means. This might sound incredibly obvious, but it is the cornerstone of all financial success. If you are spending every single penny you earn, or worse, spending more than you earn, you will never, ever get ahead. It is an impossible situation. I am not suggesting you should never enjoy life. That is not the point at all. But it does mean making conscious choices to cut back on things that truly do not matter in the long term. For me, it was those expensive nights out. The brand, new clothes every month, the constant eating out. These were all habits that felt good in the moment, but left my bank account looking pretty sad. You have to differentiate between needs and wants, and then prioritize your wants based on your long-term goals. The next big trap you absolutely want to avoid, something I fell into headfirst, is called lifestyle creep. I remember getting my first small raise at a job, and what was the first thing I thought about? A new car, a slightly bigger apartment I convinced myself I deserved. But just because you start earning a little more money does not automatically mean you need to increase your spending. This is a classic trap that so many people fall into. When you earn more, you tend to spend more. It is a natural human tendency, but it is incredibly dangerous for your financial health. If you can manage to lock in a simple, modest lifestyle in your 20s and then consistently save even just 20 to 30% of your income, you will build wealth at a far, far faster rate than your friends, who are constantly chasing material possessions and trying to keep up appearances. Seriously, this simple act of self-control is incredibly powerful. So, that is step number 1, control your spending. Learn to live below your means. I know it sounds boring, but it is effective. I wish I had learned it earlier, the next crucial move. And this is another one I learned the hard way, is to pay off any high-interest debt you might have. I am talking specifically about credit card debt here. If you are carrying balances with interest rates like 18% or higher, it honestly does not matter how much money you try to invest. That high interest debt is draining your finances faster than any investment can grow. It is like trying to fill a bucket with a massive hole in the bottom. You are just pouring money away. So before you even think about investing, focus all your energy on knocking out that bad debt. That single step alone is going to free up hundreds of dollars every single month that you can then redirect towards actually building wealth, especially if you have $5, $10, or even $20,000 in high interest debt. You need to be acutely aware of that, because the interest you are paying on that each month is likely incredibly high and just eating away at your future. It feels great to get rid of that burden. Trust me. It was a huge relief for me when I finally tackled mine. Once you have crushed that high-interest debt, your very next step is to create a financial safety net, what we call an emergency fund. Financial experts typically suggest aiming for at least 3 to 6 months' worth of your essential living expenses saved up in easily accessible cash. You can put this money into a high-yield savings account where it can earn a little bit of interest, but the key is that it is always there when you need it. This fund is going to protect you from all the unexpected obstacles. Life throws your way, losing a job, a sudden medical bill, an unexpected car repair, or a burst pipe in your apartment. Without this financial buffer, Every single surprise that pops up in life is going to knock you back financially, sometimes significantly. But with this cushion, this safety net, you will feel calmer, more in control, and you will stay on track with your financial goals. So yes, building an emergency fund is absolutely essential. That is step number 3. Do not skip it. I had no emergency fund when I was getting started, and every little hiccup felt like a major disaster. Now, step number 4 is something that most people do not want to hear, but it is the truth. You can only save so much money. Your income potential, however, is theoretically unlimited. If you are serious about building a $100,000 net worth in 5 years, you are going to have to actively find ways to increase your income. This is not just about cutting expenses, it is about bringing in more money. There are a few different ways to do this. One is by learning high-value skills. These are skills that are in demand and that employers are willing to pay good money for. Maybe you are working a 9-to-5 job, and you start a side hustle on the evenings or weekends, or you do some freelance work in your field, or if you are currently in a job where you feel like you are working incredibly hard and gaining valuable experience, but you are also severely underpaid, then maybe it is time to seriously consider job hopping to a different company where you can command a much more sizable raise. In your 20s, your career path matters far, far more than most people realize. Every new skill you acquire, every certification you earn can literally add tens of thousands of dollars to your lifetime earnings. Think about it this way. If you are making $40,000 a year and you can find a way to bump that up to $60,000 in just 2 years, you have just given yourself an extra $20,000 every single year going forward. That is a truly life-changing amount of money, even if it is pre-tax. So increasing your income is incredibly, incredibly important. That is step number 4. It is the offensive side of personal finance, and it is just as vital as the defensive side of saving. Now, step number 5, and this is where it starts to get a little more fun, is investing early and consistently. Once you are diligently saving money and actively earning more, you want that money to start working for you. You want to put your money to work so it can make more money. For most people, the simplest and most effective way to invest, I would say, is through a 401k. Especially if your company offers a match if you put in, let us say 6% of your salary and your company matches half of that, that is essentially free money. It is an immediate 100% return on that matched portion. You would be crazy to leave that on the table. What I personally tend to invest in and what I recommend for most beginners are broad market index funds. Something like an SP 500 index fund that simply tracks the 500 largest companies in the United States. It is a really simple, diversified way to invest without trying to pick individual stocks. So I would start with maxing out that 401k match. Then I would move to contributing to a Roth IRA, which offers tax-free growth and withdrawals in retirement. And if you still have money left over after that, you can always put additional funds into a regular brokerage account. But regardless of the account type, you can just buy an exchange-traded fund, an ETF like VO or VTI. VO tracks the SP 500, and VTI tracks the entire US stock market. Investing really can be that simple. Even if you can only put a couple of $100s a month into these types of investments, over time, the power of compounding will make it add up significantly. Let us do a quick calculation. If you are starting with $0 and no debt, and you want to reach $100,000 in 5 years, you would need to invest roughly $1,425 every single month. And if you do not believe me, pull up any compound interest calculator. Investor.gov has a good one. Plug in 0 as your starting balance, $1,420, 5 as your monthly contribution, and assume an 8% annual return in 5 years. You should be pretty much at that $100,000 mark. Now, I am being honest with you. It is not like you need to start investing $1,420. $5 every single month from day one. Maybe the first year, you are just focused on reducing your expenses and paying off that bad debt. And then in the later years, as your income grows and your debt is gone, you will have a lot more money available to invest. The main thing I want to emphasize here, the absolute most important aspect of investing, is consistency. Someone who invests very consistently, maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month, just steadily putting money into the market, will almost always do far better than the person who hoards cash, waiting for the next crash to happen. That crash might take years to materialize, and even then, they have often waited too long. Had they just been consistently investing the entire time, they would have significantly more money. So being consistent is key, and the earlier you start investing, the better time is your greatest ally when it comes to building wealth. Especially if you are 18, 19, 22, or 23, you are still incredibly young. So start investing as soon as humanly possible, even if it is just $25 a week or $50 a week. Simply building that habit early on will take you an incredibly long way. I wish I had understood this when I was younger instead of chasing speculative investments. Now, step number 6, and this might seem like an obvious one, is that you consistently want to choose assets over liabilities. I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make, and I mentioned this briefly earlier, is that they buy things that look good, that create an appearance, but they do not actually build wealth, whether that is a brand new car that immediately depreciates, expensive brand, name clothes, or the latest technology. These things almost always lose value over time. They are liabilities disguised as assets. Instead, you want to focus your financial energy and your purchases on true assets. Things that are going to either improve your life in a meaningful, long-lasting way or even better, make you more money. This means investing your money wisely. It means learning new skills that increase your earning potential. Maybe it means looking into different business ventures or side hustles that can generate additional income. And honestly, even taking care of your health, making sure you are fit and well is a form of investing in yourself. These things pay you back over time instead of just draining your bank account. Let me give you a quick example because the math on this is pretty eye-opening. Let us say you just graduated college. You are 22 years old and you are starting your first job making $50,000 a year. Now, if you make it a priority to save and invest 25% of that income, that is $12,500 a year in just 5 years, you would have saved over $60,000. And if you add in even a little bit of investment growth, maybe you got a couple of raises during that time, or you picked up some side hustle income, you will easily be over a $100,000 net worth by the time you are 27. And if you are even more aggressive with your income growth or your savings rate, you are going to get there even quicker. It is not some secret formula. It is just consistent effort going from $0 to $100,000 in net worth in 5 years. It is not about luck. It is not about having rich parents or winning the lottery. It is purely about discipline. Making smart financial choices and staying incredibly consistent with those choices. If you can lock in these habits in your late teens and early 20s, then by the time you reach your 30s and 40s, your financial life is going to look completely different. You will be so far ahead of where I was at that age. So, my question for you, and I really want you to think about this. What is your biggest financial goal for the next 5 years? Drop that in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts and cheer you on. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please drop a like down below. Hit that subscribe button for more real talk about money. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.